Hello, this is AJ. Welcome to the next lesson. This lesson is called Search for Meaning. And I'm going to read a small section from a book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. This is a quite powerful book. Viktor Frankl was a psychologist in Germany before World War II. And he and all of his family were taken by the Nazis. And they were put in concentration camps. Viktor Frankl survived. His entire family was killed. Now, he survived, but he suffered terribly in the concentration camps. And I'm sure all of you have seen movies or are familiar with all the horrible, terrible things that happened in the German Nazi concentration camps. But what's amazing about Viktor Frankl is that he took these terrible experiences and he created a meaningful life from them. He did not quit. He did not become angry and bitter. He did not learn to hate people. Instead, he learned to love and to help people. And he wrote this incredible book called Man's Search for Meaning. Because what he learned in the concentration camp was that our experiences are not the most important thing. It's the meaning we create from our experiences. That's what gives our lives power or what destroys us. And so in this book, he talks about all the different prisoners that were in the concentration camp with him. And he talks about which ones remained strong and which ones eventually gave up, quit, and they died. Which ones became depressed? Which ones lost all hope? And which ones continued to have strong minds and to still have hope? So he looked at this experience to learn more about human nature in this terrible, terrible situation. And he decided that the difference was the meaning that people gave to their experiences. And a lot of coaches, a lot of psychologists talk about this experience, this idea that the meaning we give something is more important than the experience itself. For example, you can have a child that is abused by its parents, treated terribly. And you have another child that's abused by its parents, treated terribly, and they grow up. And they have totally different lives. One child starts to drink and becomes an alcoholic or a drug addict. And they have a terrible life. The other child becomes very successful and caring and loving and helps people and grows and heals the pain. What's the difference? They both had the same situation, the same kinds of experiences. Well, the difference is the meaning that they gave to their experience. Some people have a terrible experience and they decide that all people are bad. That's the meaning they give. Now, Viktor Frankl, that would be an easy conclusion, right? You're in a concentration camp in Germany, and you're seeing the worst possible behavior from human beings. They're murdering and killing people. They're torturing them. If you're a prisoner, it would be very easy to decide the meaning of this is all people are terrible. Humanity is horrible. And indeed, many, many people did decide that. They became bitter and angry, and they lost hope. Viktor Frankl decided the opposite. The meaning he gave was that Human beings are powerful and strong. They can survive anything. He focused on the prisoners who survived, who continued to love and to help people. That's what he saw in this experience. Same experience, but he focused on something different. He found a different meaning. He found hope. He found courage. He found love in this terrible situation. And this is something we do in every part of our lives. Not just these big, terrible things, but everything in our life. We always decide the meaning. Any experience you have, you will choose a meaning for it, consciously or subconsciously. Usually subconsciously, right? Usually we are not aware of the meaning we're giving it at the time. But we have to be careful about that. For example, let's talk about something much less serious than concentration camps and death in Germany. Let's just talk about English learning. Now, most of you had rather negative experiences learning English in school. You had probably very boring teachers. I'm sure you had terrible, terrible textbooks. Maybe some of you did very badly on tests in your English classes. Most of you probably had bad experiences trying to speak English. You studied and you felt like you should be able to speak English, but you had trouble. It's difficult for you, or it was difficult for you. So what's the meaning of these experiences? Many students decide that the meaning is this. Oh, English is so hard, it's impossible. Some students decide the meaning is, I'm not good at English. I'm terrible at English. Right? That's the meaning that a lot of students, a lot of learners give to the experience. But other students decide a different meaning. They decide, well, those methods were not powerful. Those methods didn't work. So I'll find a different way to learn. Same experience, right? Both groups of students had the same terrible experiences in school. One group decides, English is too hard. I'm not good at English. A different group decides, it's not me, it's just the method. I just need to find a different method. So they keep trying different methods. And then they succeed. They succeed because they gave the bad experience a different meaning. They decided, it's just the method. It's not me. It's not English. It's just the learning method in school. So I will find a better way. So you need to look at these meanings and decide on your meanings. Decide and choose positive meanings. Decide and choose meanings that are real and accurate. Don't make something worse than it is. Let me read a quick section from Viktor Frankl's book. And in this section, he's talking about the meaning of success and how to find success. Here it is. Again and again, I admonish my students, both in Europe and in America. Don't aim at success. The more you aim at it and make it a target, the more you are going to miss it. For success, like happiness, cannot be pursued. It must ensue. And it only does so as the unintended side effect of one's dedication to a cause greater than oneself, or as the byproduct of one's surrender to a person other than oneself. Happiness must happen, and the same holds true for success. You have to let it happen by not caring too much about it. I want you to listen to your conscience and do what your conscience commands, and to do this with the best of your knowledge and ability. Then you will live to see that in the long run, success will follow you precisely because you had forgotten about it. Precisely because you focused on something bigger than yourself. Okay, that's a nice little paragraph there. So what he's saying is he's talking about meaning again. And he says you need to find a meaning bigger than just you. If you just focus on your personal success, like getting a good score on a test or getting a better job, you will actually find it difficult to succeed. You will not get that success easily. But if you find a different meaning, if you focus on a goal that's bigger than you, bigger than just you, if you focus on contributing and connecting to other people and helping other people and using your success to help people and to do something bigger than just you, you will actually succeed more. So what he's saying is if you choose a goal bigger than just yourself, if you choose to help more than just yourself, you will also benefit more. That in fact, you'll get more success than if you're selfish. So that's a nice idea, and we've talked a little bit about it in past lessons, but I want to talk about it again. Finding a bigger meaning for your life. Not just you. And that goes for everything you do. So when you're learning English, again, finding a meaning for your English learning that's bigger than just you. Yes, absolutely. Think of all the great reasons that you will benefit personally from improved English. Sure, those are great goals. Those are great reasons. But you must also find reasons bigger than just you. How will you use your English ability to help other people? To help your company and your coworkers? To help your family? To help your friends? To help other people who are learning English? That's what you've got to do. You've got to find a bigger meaning. That bigger meaning will guarantee your success. You'll succeed faster if you have a bigger meaning. If you only have small, personal, selfish goals, you might succeed, but you'll succeed more slowly. And this is true in all areas of life, not just learning English. The more you can find a bigger meaning for your life, beyond just yourself, the more power and passion and success you will have. It's kind of strange. It's a paradox. A paradox is something that seems to be opposite. It means two opposite things that are true at the same time. Paradox. So the more you think about other people, the more you will benefit yourself. So for example, in business, if you think more about your customers and helping them, and helping their lives, you will benefit more. You'll get more customers and more money, and you'll become richer and richer by helping other people, by thinking about other people. If you think only about money for yourself, then customers will not trust you, and you'll actually make less money. So it's the same idea. So that's why I focus so much as a teacher and as a business person on helping my members, helping my students. That's what excites me. It's a bigger purpose than just me. And that gives me the energy and the drive, and it helps me succeed at a much higher level. So I hope you'll do the same with your English learning, with your career, with everything in your life. Try to find a bigger, deeper meaning beyond just yourself. Okay, well, that's the end of our lesson. Search for meaning. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you get a chance, absolutely, please read the book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. It's a powerful book. Okay, I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, this is AJ. Welcome to the mini story for Search for Meaning. Let's start. There was a boy named Chris. And Chris hated vegetables. He only liked to eat steak. Did Chris love vegetables or did he hate vegetables? Well, Chris hated vegetables. He never ate vegetables. What did Chris eat? Steak. Chris only ate steak. Did he eat vegetables or did he eat steak? He ate steak. He only ate steak. Now, of course, Chris's mother was not happy. Every day she admonished him to eat vegetables. She said, "Chris, eat your vegetables. You must eat your vegetables." What did his mother do? She admonished Chris. Who did she admonish? She admonished Chris. Who admonished Chris? His mother. His mother admonished him. How did she admonish him? Well, she said, "Eat your vegetables! You must eat your vegetables!" She admonished him every day to eat his vegetables. What did she admonish him to do? To eat vegetables. She admonished him to eat his vegetables. Did she admonish him to eat more steak? No. She didn't admonish him to eat more steak. She admonished him to eat vegetables. Did Chris eat vegetables every day? No. He never ate vegetables. He never ate vegetables. He only ate steak every day. Steak for breakfast, steak for lunch, steak for dinner, steak for snacks. Chris only ate steak. He never, ever ate vegetables. And so every day his mother admonished him. She admonished him strongly. She said, "Eat your vegetables! You must eat your vegetables!" But Chris never did. Now, an unintended consequence of his eating choices was that Chris became fat very quickly. Did Chris want to become fat? No, he didn't. It was an unintended consequence. An unintended result. He did not want to become fat, but he did become fat. Why did Chris become fat? Well, because he only ate steak every day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, steak. An unintended consequence of this was that he became fat. Was it an intended consequence or an unintended consequence? Well, it was unintended. He didn't want it. He wasn't planning to become fat, but it still happened. It was an unintended consequence. What was an unintended consequence of his eating? Well, fatness, becoming fat. Becoming fat was an unintended consequence of eating steak every day. What kind of consequence was it? Unintended. It was an unintended consequence. So he ate steak every day, and an unintended consequence of this was that he quickly became very fat. Chris was a fat little boy. Of course, his mom was worried. She was very worried about Chris. He kept getting fatter and fatter and fatter. He became hugely obese. 725 pounds. How much did Chris weigh? He weighed 725 pounds. How old was Chris? Well, Chris was 5 years old. Chris was 5 years old, and he weighed 725 pounds. He was terribly, hugely obese. His mom was very worried. So she pursued a new strategy. What did she do? She pursued a new strategy. She tried a new strategy. What did she pursue? She pursued a new strategy. Why did she pursue a new strategy? Well, because Chris was getting fatter and fatter, and she was worried. Who pursued a new strategy with Chris? Well, his mother. His mother pursued a new strategy. What did she do? Well, she said, Chris, they kill poor little nice cows to make steak. And you love animals. So you should follow your conscience. What did she want Chris to follow? His conscience. His feelings about right and wrong, good and bad. His ideas about right and wrong, good and bad. She wanted him to follow his conscience, follow his good ideas, his good feelings, his good values, his good morals, his conscience. Did she want him to follow his conscience or his craving for steak? Well, she wanted him to follow his conscience. She did not want him to follow his craving for steak. She wanted him to follow his conscience. What did she want him to follow? His conscience. She said, they kill little small nice cows to make steak. And you love animals. So follow your conscience. Whose conscience did she want him to follow? Well, his conscience, his own conscience. She wanted him to follow his own conscience, his own feelings of right and wrong, good and bad. Did she want him to eat more steak? No, she wanted him to stop eating steak. Why did she want him to stop eating steak? Because he was obese. He weighed 725 pounds, and he was only 5 years old. So she tried a new strategy. She said, follow your conscience. You love animals. You don't want them to die. Follow your conscience. Well, what ensued next was that Chris stopped eating steak. What happened next? He stopped eating steak. What ensued next? He stopped eating steak. Did he stop eating vegetables? No. That didn't ensue. That didn't happen. What ensued was that he stopped eating steak. What ensued? Well, he stopped eating steak. Next, what happened next, what ensued, was that Chris stopped eating steak. So what ensued was that Chris stopped eating vegetables, right? No, that didn't ensue. He didn't stop eating vegetables. What ensued was that he stopped eating steak. Chris stopped eating steak. In fact, he learned to love vegetables. And over time, he became thinner and thinner, and healthier and healthier. And one day, when he was 7 years old, he was super healthy, super thin, and he looked great. His mom was very, very happy. Okay, that is the end of the mini story for Search for Meaning. As always, listen to this story with a big smile, with your shoulders back, with your eyes up, your chin up. Nice deep breaths, and be moving your body while you listen. If you're alone, pause and shout the answers to every question. Be strong when you answer. You want to build strong emotions every time you speak English. You want to speak English with power, with confidence. So practice it now. Practice power and confidence every time you answer a mini story question. All right, I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, welcome to the POV, Point of View Stories for Search for Meaning. Same story, let's start. Chris has always hated vegetables. He has only liked steak. He has only eaten steak. Always. Since he was a little baby. Since he was a little baby, Chris has hated vegetables. Since he was a little baby, he has only eaten steak. He has only liked steak. Of course, his mother has been worried about him. She has been worried about him because he never ate vegetables. His mother has admonished him every day since he was a baby until recently. His mother has admonished him. She has admonished him and she has said, Chris, eat your vegetables. You must eat your vegetables. Well, she has admonished him every day, but Chris has ignored her every day. He has never eaten his vegetables. He has never listened to her. He has continued to eat steak and only steak. He has eaten steak for breakfast. He has eaten steak for lunch. He has eaten steak for dinner every day since he was a baby. He has been a steak-eating baby all his life. Of course, this has had unintended consequences. Because he has eaten only steak, he has become fat very quickly. He has become very, very fat. In fact, each year he has gotten fatter and fatter and fatter very, very fast until finally he weighed 725 pounds when he was 5 years old. Of course, this was terrible. And at that time, when he became 5, his mother became very worried. And so she decided to pursue a new strategy. She pursued a new strategy with Chris. She said to Chris one day, Chris, you know, they kill poor, kind little cows to make steak. And you love animals. So, Chris, follow your conscience. Oh, Chris became upset. He thought about the little poor cows being killed. Well, what ensued next was that Chris stopped eating steak. He completely stopped. And he learned to love vegetables. He ate vegetables every day. And of course, because he ate vegetables every day, he became thin and healthy and strong. He was a happy little boy. And that is the end of our first point of view story for Search for Meaning. Next, let's go to the future. In the future, 100 years from now, in space or something, I don't know. Into the future, there will be a boy named Chris. This boy will hate vegetables. He's gonna hate them. He'll never eat vegetables. He'll only like steak, and he'll only eat steak. Of course, his mother's gonna admonish him every day to eat vegetables. She'll say, Chris, eat your vegetables. You must eat your vegetables. There will be unintended consequences. He will become fatter and fatter and fatter. He won't want to be fat, but it will be an unintended consequence of eating steak and only steak. So he'll become a very fat little boy. In fact, he'll become super fat, obese. He'll weigh 725 pounds. He'll only be 5 years old. Now, of course, his mom is going to be very worried, and she'll decide to pursue a new strategy. One day, she's going to say to him, Chris, they kill poor, kind little cows to make steak, and you love animals. So, Chris, follow your conscience. And Chris will become very upset, of course. And he'll decide to stop eating steak. In fact, what will ensue is that he'll stop eating steak completely. He'll learn to love vegetables. And he'll become thin and super healthy and very strong. Chris will become a happy, healthy, thin little boy. And that is the end of our point of view stories for Search for Meaning. I hope you enjoy them. Always enjoy your learning, enjoy your listening. Smile, big, deep breaths, move your body. Strong physiology, always. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.